All right, Case, sounds great. All right, I'm just gonna dive in and show you this thing. And if anybody needs to talk or stop me or go over anything, feel free. But I'm just gonna just keep talking. I might ask somebody to be my guinea pig at some point. But so let me just explain what the heck this thing is. So let me go to this page on our Agency Rocket site.
Hey, real quick, John, feel free, people, to you guys can use the chat feature in the Zoom webinar link here too. So if you have questions throughout it, go ahead and type some stuff in there if you feel like it, and I can work on answering those and managing those. And John, you can just focus on doing your
Oh,
demo.
all right, even better. Well, if you need to stop me, yell at me. So I'll just
Sounds
do
good.
that. I'll do your plan. All right, so we're trying to help you sell more IUL. That's the name of the game with this system. Okay, let me show you how it works. There's three components to it. The first component is called Reach. It's a prospecting tool. We have a website called My New Retirement, and you as a subscriber, you will have your own website there. It has lots of videos and webinars, all kinds of fun things, right? And it's aimed at educating folks about this concept of using an IUL strategy to fund their retirement tax-free, okay, and risk-free and all kinds of other benefits. So that's what the videos are aimed at. The hope is that by the time they've gone through the process of seeing these videos and everything, that they're pretty educated on the concept. We have a philosophy here at Agency Rocket that we'd like to teach clients how to buy instead of agents how to sell. I'd like for the agent to be the one that has to put the deal together and has the expertise, but not necessarily have to be the salesman all the time. So we're trying to take some of that heavy lifting away. So as the prospects interact with the site, they have to register for the webinar, for example, they get added to Tracker, which is our CRM that we've built that's integrated with the My New Retirement system. So as they fill it out, they show up in Tracker. I'll show you that in a minute. It's really cool. And then there's the analyzer, which compares the IUL strategy to a typical strategy, like a 401k, some kind of qualified plan, and how it blows the socks off of it and how every little thing works. And honestly, this is really the bread and butter of the system. Reach and Tracker are great. I'm going to spend about 5 minutes on those, and I'm going to spend the rest of the time on Analyzer because that's where it's fun. It's the bright shiny object. It's what really helps these clients understand the IUL and how the whole thing works. And it works great on Zoom, on our COVID crazy world that we live in now. It really helps that. It helps demystify the IUL and show all the moving parts. Because I don't know if you guys have ever tried to sell an IUL over a Zoom meeting. It's hard. You know, hey, can you turn to page 48 of the illustration in front of you and let's go over these. It's just hard, right? So this kind of helps with that. So let me go ahead and show you. Let me get off of this page and show you those components. There's three of them: Reach, Tracker, and Analyzer. Those three components are right there. Okay, so let's go to Reach. Here's my New Retirement website. Mine is johnphillips.mynewretirement.com, but yours would be whatever. And you can update that subdomain to whatever you want. So let's view this thing. Here's the website. I'll click this button. Here's my version of the website. Okay. Discover My New Retirement, learn more, blah, blah, blah. A lot of fun things here. That's not my picture. That's Michael Scott, but you get the idea. And I can put my bio here. And we really want folks to register for the My New Retirement webinar by clicking that and filling out that form. And that's cool. It's a nice, good looking site. But I like to go down here. There's two other kind of mini sites or video sites, I guess you'd call them, vignettes. Let me click on that one and show you that real quick. So here we go, view website. If you ask Siri. I won't play the video. The video is about a minute long. It's just an intro video. And this site is very plain. It's just the video and register for the webinar. And the video asks them to register. So we'll go ahead and do that. Let's see, there's somebody named Yaya. Is that how you say it? Yaya?
Use Case.
Oh, I'll use Case. Okay, Case. I'll call it Case Test is the name. Case Test is the email, fake email. I can't type, sorry guys. So we'll go ahead and register for the webinar. I'm not gonna view it, although it starts playing automatically. It does talk about, well, let me turn that sound down. It does talk about the retirement crisis that's happening in America, how folks are having to go back to work. They're losing some of their retirement when the stock market dips and does some funky things, which it probably will be doing soon. It talks about the IUL strategy and how that eliminates risk through indexing. It talks about how cash flow is much more important than the size of your nest egg. And the IUL has tremendous cash flow. We talk about the loan process, how you actually borrow money against your policy to fund your retirement. You don't actually pull money out. So you actually increase the value of your policy while you're borrowing against it. It's really this awesome situation, and how it can really last you forever and create a tax-free retirement. They learn all that in this video. Okay, so by the time they're done with it, they should be kind of up to speed. I'm sure they need some more help from you, but they'll understand some of the concepts. And then at the end, we ask them to fill out a savings snapshot, which some people do. Guys, about 20%, 15, 20% do. So if they don't, that's okay. But I'll go ahead and click on it right here. And it's just a financial needs analysis. So some people are a little scared of that on the internet, right? So it asks for an income range. How much are you saving per month? And you know, are you married, children, date of birth? Where are you saving stuff? Do you feel you're saving enough for retirement? Yes or no? So just some really basic questions. And the hope is that they would fill it out. If not, that's fine. But if they fill it out, you're able to put together a basic illustration so that you can do a nice analysis. Now let's go ahead and go to the next module, I guess, which is tracker. And as I click on here, you should see, yeah, there we go. Case test case right there. Okay, so that showed up. It's in the webinar viewed stage because we actually registered for the webinar and viewed it. And that showed up right there. So let me take a minute on this page to show you what the heck's going on. There's a lot of colors here. And the wisdom in this page is that you can see every case that you're working on right now on one screen. And that's important. Some other CRMs are a little bit too fancy, and you have to do a lot of funky things. But this, it's very simple. It's all there. And if you know what the colors mean, you know that you have to do some actions here. So cases test case is yellow, which means there's no future activity planned. I don't have a meeting with them, a phone call, a task, anything. So it's yellow, meaning, hey, you need to pay some attention to this thing. Red means you have some type of activity planned, but it's in the past. You have missed it. You've messed up. Either A, you've missed the appointment, or you just forgot to click it as complete in the system. So that needs your attention as well. And then the green means we have a future appointment. So training and on the system, it's very duplicatable. You just go in here and turn everything green. Maybe come in here a few times a day and just update all your cases and do what your cases tell you to do, and then go update them again. So I'm going to turn cases to, oh, by the way, you move cases between stages by just dragging and dropping them, just like that. Very easy. If Antoine's test case here, we can either lose or win it. Okay, I'll go to lost, and it just says cancel emails. Yeah, sure. And then we're going to move it to lost. All that did was take it off this pipeline page. It's still under my cases tab here if I want to go to it. But the pipeline was designed to just have everything you're working on that you want to see every single day. So if I already, that case is in force, I don't want to see it every day. It's great, but you know, and so that's kind of the gist of the CRM. I don't want to spend too much time on it. Just know that you can create tons and tons of pipelines with tons of stages to customize however you want them to be so that it fits your sales process. Maybe you sell annuities and you want to have an annuity pipeline. You can do that, no problem. Just the My New Retirement pipeline, which by the way, you can click between them here. The My New Retirement pipeline is integrated with the My New Retirement website. So it's a smart pipeline. The other ones just aren't integrated with anything. You have to manually do everything. But in this case, the user might fill out a savings snapshot and they would move automatically to the savings snapshot phase. So that's kind of fun. And of course, you can total up your premium and commission and all kinds of fun, neat things. Let me go ahead and click on cases test case though, and show you what a case page looks like. So we have some tabs here for all kinds of fun stuff. And like details, for example, I can put some policy information on there and store everything you need just to have it there. I can create new notes. It also creates a history of everything that I do, which is great for compliance. Kind of just keeps a nice paper trail of everything you've done. But what I really want to show you guys is the analyzer. This is really what you came to see. So on this main tab here, I can say upload illustration. Now, the hope is that you took the savings snapshot data or that you talked to your client or whatever, and you've gotten the data from them to put together a very basic illustration. And you've gone to your Columbus Life or whatever your carrier of choice is, and you created an illustration and you've downloaded the PDF to your computer. And so now we're taking, we're starting at that point. So let me go ahead and hit the upload illustration button. First off, it's got to be from one of our supported carriers. I'll show you that list in a minute. We need to show income on the IUL. Now, the reason why we do that is because we want to compare this to a typical retirement strategy. So we have to kind of retire. We have to be able to take money out at that retirement age, roughly, and show some type of income so we can compare it. So don't just create a whole bunch of cash value and never pull anything out on your illustration, okay? And then also, we need to include all the fees and expenses. That's typically not the default setting. So when you create the illustration, make sure you find that checkbox that says, please include the fees, policy fees, and that kind of thing. Okay, it's different for every carrier, so I can't really tell you exactly where to go. But include the fee. So those three things have to be done on that illustration. So let me go ahead and click select illustration and upload one. I've got a National Life Group one here that I always use because it's an easy one. So I'm going to select that one, that guy right there, Joe Client, and click open. And now it's going to start to automatically upload to our system. It'll take it about 30 seconds. It's going to upload this, I don't know, it's like 50 pages. It's uploading this PDF, and then it's going to process it. And what our system does when it processes it is it knows where to grab all the important data off that long illustration and gets it all ready for you, saves it in the database, and presents this really cool comparison. So what we've done is we try to take your hands off this thing. Instead of you copying and pasting, we kind of do all the heavy lifting by having it look through the PDF, and it's done. And so what I like to do is title it right here. So I'll do case, and I'll go ahead and do your last name, why not? And then you're going to be 30 years old today. And we're doing $500 a month in this one, and it's a National Life Group. But you can name this thing anything you want. It's just, you know, whatever makes sense for you. Now I'll click create illustration. And this is the part of the presentation that's customer facing, right? So we're going to hopefully be on a Zoom meeting with our client. And we're going to get on here and we're going to have this disclaimer pop up. We're going to go over it a little bit with them. You know, that we're not selling any products, advisory products. We're not giving any tax or legal advice, etc. So if they're okay with that, click accept. And now we have a screen here that we can do a comparison. Now, what I like to do first is clean up the page. It's a little bit messy. There's a lot going on. So I like to go to the top left, this little button there, and it kind of gives me more room. There's some gray buttons that go across right here. One of them is hide IUL. I want to hide that. This green section is the IUL. I like to hide that in the beginning. So we'll go ahead and hide it. And then I have a bunch of inputs for taxes and fees and all that kind of garbage. I like to hide that too. And just start with a screen that looks kind of like that. And I like to go in there and I like to talk with my client about what most people in America are doing with their retirement money. They're putting into a qualified plan like a 401k. And it's causing a retirement crisis from what Time and Forbes and all these guys are saying. And I'm going to explain to you why. What's the problem? And I'm going to tell you how we can redirect that money and do a new strategy. And I'm not going to ask for any more money from you. I'm just going to suggest we redirect it. And I'm going to show you that we're going to have a much better result. And we're probably going to find upwards of $1 million more for you. Okay, sound good? All right, well, let's go ahead and look at that. So $7,500 a year. Let's go over this thing real quick. $7,500 a year is going into your 401k. This is just an example. And we're going to keep track of a few things along the way. We're going to keep track of the deferred taxes. So I'm going to put a little highlighter on that one. These are taxes that you haven't paid yet, right? In a 401k, we don't pay the taxes up front. We pay them when you pull the money out. But I like to keep track of it just to compare things. I'm going to keep track of fees. In the first year, we got $198 of fees. Cool. And I like to keep track of the account balance. So I'm going to highlight those three things right now for you. And just watch those. And what I get to do here is I get to take my age slider and drag it into the future. And as long as you put that same amount in every year and get a relatively same return in the stock market, you should have these numbers now. Okay, so we put $262,500 of our cash going in, it's your cash, and then we owe $101,000 in taxes. That's the deferred, right? Deferred taxes, that's the kind we haven't paid yet. We have paid $191,000 in fees. That's a very large number. Just think about that for a minute. And then we have a $500,000 nest egg sitting there to live off of, okay? A lot of folks see that number right there and they're like, wow, that's a lot of money. Yeah, it is. So now let's talk about what happens when, let me uncheck these three. When do we retire? So that 65 right there, the orange thing, let's go ahead and go to 65, whoops, right there, which is the retirement age for this scenario. So $262,500 went in, we already talked about that. Now we're gonna pull out $72,000 in gross money to pay $14,000 in taxes to net $57,600. That's the actual net retirement income that we use to pay our bills. And then we're going to go down here and show that, yep, the account balance went down a little bit. I'll go ahead and highlight that one. And we'll see how long this thing lasts. As we pull 72 grand out every year, see that balance go down, down. And then, of course, at age 72, that red marker that was right there, when you hit 72, everything turns red. I like to ask my client, what happened? And they usually get it. Well, my account balance is at 0, so I guess I'm out of money. That's right. So you're at 72. Hopefully you're relatively healthy and you're not dead yet. But the only problem is you're out of money. So now what do you do? And, a lot of folks will giggle and laugh and kind of make light of the situation, right? Oh, I'll move in with my kids or find a job at Walmart. But it's really, honestly, it's not a good scenario. And this is the retirement crisis. The money just doesn't last very long. You think you're doing good, but a lot of money goes to fees and taxes. And what you're left over with is not enough to last very long. And in this case, it was 7 years. And that's the retirement crisis that our videos talk about. It's not good. So let's go ahead and back it up. And let's show this IUL strategy right next door to it. Let me get rid of this thing. There we go. Now I'm going to show an IUL strategy right next door to it, to this hypothetical example of a 401k. And I'm going to talk about the differences in the strategies and how they are awesome and how it makes this strategy so much better. First thing you'll notice is we're going to put less money in every year. Instead of $7,500, we're putting only $6,000 into it. Well, where's the other $1,500? We have $7,500 to spend on our retirement. Where's it going? Well, let's go down to here. It's right there. This is the income tax during your working years. So we're actually going to pay taxes on that. So we only put 6 grand in, $1,500 goes to the IRS. So we're paying taxes up front. There's our first big difference, is we're not deferring taxes. That might be a pretty major shift in your thinking. And I'm going to show you why that's actually a good idea. I'm going to come down a little bit. I'm going to show you something kind of negative, Mr. Client. And that's our fees. In the beginning, the very beginning of this plan, the fees are a little higher. There's a reason behind that, because we have this death benefit of $280,000 in this particular plan, and it costs a little bit of money into the insurance company to do that. This is an insurance product. Okay, we use an insurance product here because we take advantage of these fantastic tax laws and tax shelters that are in place for insurance. We get to grow money tax-free. We get to pull it out tax-free. You'll see, it's fantastic. And we use that tax policy to take advantage of all these different concepts. But we have to pay a little bit of fees up front to get that insurance going. Okay, just being very upfront with you. So let's go ahead and see what happens when we go ahead and contribute to this thing all the way to age 64 again, like we did before. Okay, let's take a little inventory here. 262.5 is the total cash in on this one. 210 is the total cash in over there. Let me scroll down a little bit. All right, good. All right, this is a really, really fun concept here. $101,000 are our deferred taxes on the left side on our 401k. And the next line is our taxes paid. So we haven't paid any taxes on the 401k yet, right? Makes sense? But we paid $52.5 on our IUL. And I'll give you a little hint. We're not going to pay a penny more than $52.5. So look at these two numbers. It's about half the taxes. So there's our first advantage. We got $50,000 roughly of money that we don't pay to the IRS. Very cool. That's our first strategy difference, is we're not going to defer our taxes. We're going to pay taxes on the seed instead of paying taxes on the harvest, right? That's that concept right there. The seed is a little money. You pay tax on the small money as it goes in instead of on the big money after it grows. Okay, which plan do you think the IRS would rather you go with? Yeah, I would say the blue one, because they get twice the money. Yep. Look at this line. Remember the fee situation? Oh my gosh. Remember we paid a little bit more in the beginning? Look what's happened now. It's significantly less, like 1/4 of the fees. It's incredible. Where does this money go? This 191, that goes to your money manager, right? Your broker and others that have managed that 401k. $191,000. The $45,000 goes to the insurance company. That's a big difference. I want to stop you just right for a minute, Mr. Client. You're going to probably Google an index universal life policy for a retirement strategy, and you're probably going to see half the people hate that strategy and half the people absolutely love it. Who do you think says that they hate it? It's probably this crowd right here that's losing out on $191,000 in this one case, right? So you're gonna get that. You're gonna see folks like Dave Ramsey and others that have a little bit of skin in this game, and they want to make sure that So I don't want to go too far into that, but just to let you know, you're going to see that. You're going to see another whole side of things where there's a lot of folks that love this thing. It's the best thing ever, and that they value it more than anything else because it's their entire financial future. Those are the customers. Those are the folks that own this policy, and they love it. All right. And let me show you why they love it. First off, there's $508,000 on the left, 630 on the right. Okay, that's our nest egg. That's our account balance. Now, on the right, the IUL actually has more money. That's not always the case. It looks great here, but sometimes if there's not a long time to accumulate it, or if the person's unhealthy or whatnot, it might not be quite as much money, but that's not really the point. Our reach videos talk about how the nest egg is not what you want to focus on. It's the cash flow, right? Because that's what actually pays your bills is cash flow. And plus that nest egg right there, the IRS owns a lot of that, just to let you know. All right, so let's go ahead and retire again, and let's see what happens when we take money out of these plans, okay? So on this side, we're going to pull out 72, pay 14 to keep 57 to net on, to pay your bills on here. On the right side, it's the exact same amount. And by the way, you insurance agents, this is the amount you're pulling out on your illustration, 57,635. We solved for income. It told us that was the amount every year, and that's what it did. And so we just kind of took that number on the 401k and kind of backfilled the taxes and everything and made a comparison out of those numbers. Pretty cool, right? So that's how this happens. I'm going to scroll down and show you this. This is an interesting concept here. This is the account balance. I don't know if you caught it, but one of them went down and one of them went up. I'll go ahead and go backwards a year and see if you can catch it. 508 and 630, 451, 671. I'll go ahead and drag the slider and you can see it even better as we go to age 72. One of them is on zero at age 72. One of them has $1 million in it. So how in the world are we pulling that off? Well, we're pulling up 57.6, right? So this is where that conversation happens in your presentation about the loan process, about how we're actually not going to pull money out of our cash value. We're going to borrow against it. And so we're actually going to be borrowing 57,635 every year from the insurance company. They allow us to do that. They use the policy as collateral. In doing that, we don't pay taxes on borrowed money. So it creates a nice tax-free retirement, which is incredible. We eliminate the tax plan completely from our retirement strategy. Now they're going to keep track of that. At 57,635 is a lot of money to borrow every year, and they will tack a small interest rate onto that, and it will accumulate every single year. It'll be a large amount of money, especially if you live a long time, and that's okay, because we've also set up this nice account balance that keeps churning and churning and making more money in the indexing in the stock market. Okay, so now that we've run out of money on the one side, I like to ask the client that I'm talking to a really weird question, and that is, how old do you want to be when you die? And everybody's on mute, so I'm not going to ask you. I'm just pretend like you answered. Most people that I do this with say 90 to 95 is about where I think I'd like to die. I don't want to live too much longer than that because I'll probably be in pain. I really want to get more life out of 72. So let's go to 95 and show that we're still pulling out 5635 every year from this plan. What's great about this loan process is it just happens. You take the loan, they charge the interest rate, they keep track of all the paperwork, obviously, because it's their money. But when you finally die at age 95, they settle everything up. They take the cash value that you have in the policy, they pay off all the loans that they have against it, and they pay the difference out to your heirs in the form of a death benefit. That's also tax-free. And because we set this thing up properly, you're never going to run out of money. It's going to keep churning. It's going to create an arbitrage. You're going to earn money and loan against it, and earn money and loan against it, and you'll never get to the point where you're out. It can last your entire life and provide tax-free income. And then when you die, it all gets settled up and it's gone. The coolest part about this policy is this right here. The cumulative net income. This is all the money I was able to pull out of the 401k all those 7 years to live off of, and before it ran out of money. Would you look at that number? That's incredible, $1.7 million. And that really is the apex of the presentation, is that number right there. It's just incredible. By just taking the same amount of money you're putting in the 401k, putting it into an IUL, tweaking the strategy slightly, look at how much money we were able to squeeze. In this case, it's, I don't know, $3 million roughly. It's incredible. Not many things can turn 210,000 into 1.7 million that are legal. Okay. Now what I like to do when we've hit this point, and most of the time the clients are getting it, right? They're saying, oh, I get the concept. That's kind of interesting. I never heard of this loan thing and pay it off when you die and all that kind of stuff. Well, now I like to show the inputs. Here they are. And what we do with the inputs here is I like to tell them I made some assumptions before we got started. I assume that your tax rate was 20%. And I assume that when you retire, it's going to remain at 20%. Those are probably wrong, but that doesn't matter. I just want to talk about the concept of taxing and how these works with these two plans. So you probably got into a 401k thinking that you're going to grow a lot more money without paying taxes on it. And you're going to pull money out in retirement because your retirement tax rate is probably lower than your working tax rate. Okay. Well, let's pretend that's true. So what tax rate would you like to pay in your retirement on your 401k? And that's a weird question. Well, I don't know. I'll pay whatever the Uncle Sam makes me. Okay, well, let's pretend like that is, I don't know, 10. All right, so when I moved it to 10, I don't know if you caught it, but this little guy right here moved from 72 to 74. Here, I'll do it again so you watch it. See? So what's happened in the background? It's a simple thing. The guy moved, but there's a lot of math happening in the background, right? To figure out that you're out of money at age 74 now with a 10% tax rate. But what if we paid zero taxes? Well, it only went up three years from 72 to 75. Watch. It just really doesn't move the needle that much. And this is a very impactful exercise. Taxes aren't that, it doesn't move the needle, right? That we do all these things to eliminate taxes and reduce taxes and defer taxes and everything. And even if you paid zero in retirement, it really doesn't get you anywhere near that age 95 that you need for when you actually die. And I like to leave that 95 there because you get to see this nice gap of no income, right? It's very powerful. I'll go ahead and talk about fees now. So I assumed a 2.5% fee rate. That's probably low, to be honest with you. You probably think it's high, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But let's go ahead and drop that fee rate to what you think it is. Oh, well, my statement every month says I'm paying a 0.5 point. Oh, okay, let's go to 0.5 point. Okay, that helped. Now, instead of running out at 72, you run out at 81. So you only have 14 years of being broke. That's better, but not ideal, right? Doesn't solve the problem. You guys get what I'm doing here? I'm just using these sliders to kind of just resolve concerns and concepts. I can go ahead and alter the rate of return on my 401k and get somewhere in the, I don't know, 10.2 range. But are you really going to get a 10.2% return every year with no losses? That's what the math is doing. I can't really say that that's likely. And if I got 10.2 on the left side, I'm probably going to get more than 6.07 on the right, which is what I have on my illustration. So it's not really fair to compare those numbers, but I just let you know that you can, and you get closer, you're still not quite there. So it's only 6 years of terrible, brokenness. So also employer match. A lot of people are like, well, what about the employer match on a 401k? My gosh, it's free money. Why would I give that away? Okay, well, let's talk about that. So we're putting in $7,500 a year. Let's say your employer puts $5,000 a year towards it. That's a pretty darn good employer match. And that helps. Moving from 72 to 79. 7 years we added to our retirement, but we still have all this time of terrible time, right? So what I like to tell folks is the employer match is great. It's free money, but don't let that get in the way of you restructuring your retirement to make sure you can last till age 95. Just don't let that get in the way. Don't let it kind of mess you up and think that free money is worth sticking around in that 401k. Okay, that's kind of how that works. And that's kind of the basic version of the presentation. Now I'm going to show you some other bells and whistles. Okay, here's one. I like to go to this at the bottom, something called lifetime income. I'm going to click it real quick and show you what in the heck just happened. Well, all of a sudden, we're not running out of money at age 72 anymore. That thing zipped way up to 120. So now the thing's never going to run out of money, the 401k. That comes at a very, very, very steep price. And that is right here. I can only pull $14,000 out per year, pay $28 in taxes to keep $11,300 to live off of. At that rate, yeah, I'm never going to run out of money. And a new slider showed up when I hit that toggle called the annual income draw rate. And it defaulted to 2.8%. You might have heard like the 4% rule on Wall Street. So I'll drag it to 4%. And that We don't run out of money as long as we don't live to age 117. So that it did work for us. But again, that comes at a price, $20,000 a year, $4,000 in taxes to keep 16. Okay. That's not really what we want. We want to die at 95. So I'm going to do a fun exercise here that you can't really do in real life. And that is, let's get this 401k and optimize it, pull out the exact amount we need to make it run out at exactly age 95 when you die. That would be the best case scenario. 401k never runs out, boom, 95. So let's do that. I can do it in about 2 seconds. You drag this guy until it's at age 95. Okay. Our optimal income draw rate is actually 5.2%. And let me drag this to an age where we have money coming out here. So your gross retirement income is 26,000. We're going to pay 52 in taxes and keep 21. There is your apples to apples comparison right there. One plan on the left lasts to age 95 when you died, but you only get 21 grand a year. The one on the right, same thing, lasted to age 95, but you got $57,000 a year. That's $36,000 more, $3,000 a month more. That is very significant to a retired person. That is a big difference in lifestyle. And you insurance agents are providing this thing. You're a hero to these people. And with this software, with this agency rocket system, with the analyzer, you can explain it very easily. I hope you guys are looking at this and saying, yeah, I think I could do that. And also new agents that you bring on your team, you can show them this analysis as well. And they'll understand the IUL concept and be more confident in explaining it to folks. Let me show you a few more things. We got some graphs. All right, so graphs. Oh, you know what? Let me go back. Let me show this other thing first. So if I get rid of my summary section by just clicking on it, I also have these graphs here. Oh, wait, let me get rid of I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting real confusing here. Let me get rid of my lifetime income. Here we go. And let's put it on 95-ish. Okay, so now we got our graphs, right? Our graphs are the same exact story, just told with graphs, right? Let's look at the fees. Remember the fees, it was more on the IUL. That's the green is the IUL, and a little bit on the 401k, and then they pass each other. Watch, we can actually show it. Boom, I got the thing passing it like a race car. A lot more fees, right? Isn't that cool? So you can just kind of show the same thing. On the right is all the comparison of the 4 major parts of the strategy. We're actually behind the 8 ball on taxes because remember the IUL pays taxes up front. So the other guys have not paid any yet. So yeah, of course we're behind the game. We pay $39,000 at age, what is this, 55. So it just kind of adds all those up at the bottom and we get a nice total here of our performance. If I go all the way to 95, that number gets way up there, right? $1.5 million better than the 401k if you add up all the benefits that you get. And then at the bottom here, I have another section called the return. This is cool because again, it's just all the numbers happen as you move the slider. But at age 95, we put 210 in, we pulled $1.7 million out over all those years. And we left $63,000 to our heirs. You add those two numbers together and you get 1.8 million. You subtract the 210 that you originally put in and you get the $1.6 million return or the increase. Does that make sense? So that's just fun to watch and something fun to show your client. Up at the top, I have a bunch of tabs. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. Graphs right here. I don't go to this page. You might. Here's the fees for the 401k, how it's really high and then it ends because it's out of money. And now this one kind of gently goes up and then kind of almost stops. IUL details. I don't like this page. This is everything we pulled off the IUL. All the numbers we yanked off that thing when it was processing it. I'd never go there. The other details. This is the 401k calculations that we do. We're pulling $7,500 out. I never go here either. I don't like that page. I like to go to indexing though. This is the indexing strategy because I like to talk about indexing when I talk about an IUL. This is how we eliminate loss. This is how we protect you. We don't risk your money. So this is how I like to explain it. We have 2 accounts that start with that have 100 grand in them. We're going to index using this S&P 500. We got a floor and a cap here. I can alter that, of course, and as you can see, the graphs all change as I alter it, but we'll leave it at, I don't know, 0 and 12. And I can alter the time frame, right? And I like to leave it at 2000 because it's a really good time frame for us. Down here, we show in 2000 that both accounts started off at 100 grand and they just kind of go throughout history. And at 2019, the non-indexed account is at 219 grand and the index account is at 351. That's the green one. So by eliminating those losses and the cap of 12, we actually gained a lot more money. And we can sleep better at night. When everyone else is losing cash, you're just flatlining. You're not losing anything that year. A lot of people like to see it this way. This is the graphical view. This is the line item view. Here's an account with 100 grand. Here's an account with 100 grand. This is the index account over here on the right. First year in the S&P, we lost 10 points, so you have 89,000. Over here, we lost nothing, so we still have our 100. We have 3 lost years, and then we have a nice gainer right there. We only got to capture 12% of that gainer over here, so we're at 112,000. It takes 13 years to get your 100 grand back with a lot of losses and a lot of gains. Over here, we're at 229. Slow and steady wins the race, guys, especially with your retirement funds. We're getting some fantastic returns. We're actually outperforming the S&P here, but we're also eliminating losses. Eliminating losses is much more important than chasing the big returns. And that's what you want your client to understand. That's indexing. So now we're protecting you from risk and from any kind of market loss. So let's look at fees here. Fees, that's just a fun one. We got $100,000 in an account. This is just math, by the way. This has nothing to do with your illustration. 100 grand, we're going to calculate a return for 20 years, and it's at 6.5. Of course, I can change all this stuff, but if you did that, 100 grand with no fees for 20 years should turn into 352 at a 6.5% return rate compounded. If you add 2% per year, or I should say subtract 2% per year from it, you only have 235 instead of 352. And we have $117,000 less. That's money gone. It's either gone to your broker or it's in lost income from the money that went to your broker. That makes sense? Over here, we got 155 and 196. Great. Well, let me show you another part of the equation that a lot of people miss, and that is time. The more longer you're in the situation, the worse it is. The losses get compounded. Let me show you. I want you to remember that 235, the money that you have, is bigger than 117, right? That's bigger than that. And I'm going to drag this to 50 years, and you'll watch those numbers increase, and you'll see that you actually have less now than you lost. So instead of having $2.3 million, these losses were compounded. And so you have only 848, and you've lost more than you gained. That makes sense? So we lost 1.4 over here. I don't even want to look at this one. 302 is all we've gained in 50 years. And we put $100,000 up. So we really only gained 200,000, and we missed out on $2 million. Some people think that little 2% is not a big deal. Oh my gosh, it's $1.4 million of losses, that little teeny tiny 2%, right? How much is your client paying in fees? That's the magic question. And honestly, I click this little button here. They probably don't know. Here's a article called The Real Cost of Owning a Mutual Fund. You can click here to view it, but it broke down the average fees that are charged. And instead of just the advisory fee, which everyone knows about, they've calculated some other hidden things happening here. And they say your fee rate is anywhere from 3.4 to 5.67. That's incredible. Let me explain one of these hidden fees real fast, because this is the only one I can really explain well. Cash drag. You got $100,000 that you invest in a mutual fund. They're probably going to invest only about 90 grand of it, roughly. They're going to keep the other 10 grand in a cash account. Why? Because they don't want to overextend themselves. They have to keep a certain amount in cash reserves. So your 90 grand gets invested. You might make a 6% return on that. Well, it was only the 90 grand. If you factor the full 100, it probably brings that 6% down to 5.2 roughly, or a loss of 0.83%, right? That cash drags your returns down to the tune of 8.8. That's average, okay? If transaction costs, anyway, that's a lot of money. And then, by the way, there's a soft dollar fee. If you click this, I can't even explain it. It's so crazy, but it totals $1 billion annually, so it's significant. And of course, you can read these if you'd like. They're all right there. Or you can go to the article. And all we're showing the client is you probably don't really know what your true fee rate is. And your advisor probably doesn't even know, honestly. So now they're thinking, oh man, what am I paying in fees? Gosh, only 2% difference is a lot of money I'm losing. Yeah, you better know what you're paying. Our IUL product, you know exactly what your fees are, to the penny. There's a taxes tab. This is fun. This is the history of the top marginal rate. In 1918, it was at 77% because we had a war to pay for. And in 1944, it went up again to 94%. We had to pay for World War II, but doggone it, we liked that tax up there. Look how high it was. And it came down in the 80s. And now it's at 37% is our top marginal rate. They're going to, I think, increase that slightly over the next year is what I hear. But this green line is what I really want you to see. And that is the average rate of about, let's just say it's 58% roughly. And the only reason why I'm showing you this is to let you know that we're actually paying a slightly lower tax rate than our average over this entire period. So taxes are relatively low. Put that in the back of your mind. And now I got another tab here, your national debt tab. Look at this. Current national debt, $27.9 trillion. Okay. That is a live feed from the US Treasury right there. So if you look at this tomorrow, it will change. Next week, it'll probably change too. As soon as the stimulus money starts hitting against this thing, it's going to go down significantly. But that's our national debt, $27.9 trillion. And I got a lot of data here. I can go all the way back to the year 2000, for example, and see that our national debt ended at 5.6 trillion. So in 21 years, we went from 5.6, which felt like a ton of money back then, to $27.9 trillion. Man, we're screwing things up so fast, guys. It's scary. And so you put these two concepts, taxes are relatively low. The national debt is going bananas, out of control. Something has to give. And so I like to ask my clients, do you think taxes are going to go up or down in the future, knowing what you see here? And most of them are like, it's probably got to go up at some point. Most economists think that as well, unless we can do some crazy, awesome economy stimulating thing. But, you know, I'm not sure that's going to happen. So taxes are going to go up. Why would you put money into a tax deferred strategy knowing taxes might go up in the future? So as an insurance agent, you want to change your focus and say, I want to insure your retirement against a tax hike. So I want to protect it by providing a tax-free income. Anyway, that's the basic presentation. Let me show you one more bell and whistle, and then we'll just kind of end, and maybe we'll talk about it or something. But I'm back on my overview page. I'm going to go back to my case page by clicking this little. Oh, by the way, you can select between multiple illustrations right here. I only have one that I uploaded, but I could upload many. And you can just cycle through them and see what maybe, you know, I think we had $500 a month on this one. Maybe putting $700 would look even better. And you can show your client exactly how much it would look better by just putting multiple illustrations, maybe multiple carriers, whatever you'd like to do. But let me go back to my case page. And I would here's my illustration tab. So I could upload another one right here, and it would be stacked right up underneath that one. And I can click the open button and I can do the whole presentation over again. Or I can do this really cool thing called an interactive report. So let me show you what in the world that is. So here we go. I'm gonna click the interactive report button. It's going to ask for a password for your client. So I'm gonna set one. So I'm gonna set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then I can also come down here and just kind of customize this message, right? I'll just remove this sentence and say, hey, case, just so you can see that it's custom. All right. So let's click save. And now our interactive report is ready. We're on the interactive report tab now, and there's a long link. So I'm going to hit the clipboard icon and copy it. And I'm going to log out. And then I'm going to click it. Now, what happened here is hopefully you're putting an email together for your client and saying, hey, it was great to talk to you today. It was a wonderful discussion we had. I think you understood it slightly. Here is a link to let you go over some of the same information we talked about. Okay, cool. So they click on it in their own time. They have to put that password that you set. So make sure you put the password in the email. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hit confirm. And now we have this disclaimer because this is in front of the customer. So we're going to have them accept it. And now we have the retirement report. It has 5 sections here. The first one, oh, well, actually, here's our Michael Scott picture. And hey, Case, right? This is our custom message here. And here's our fun Next Vision logo. And the retirement crisis is the first section. There's this guy that went back to work. We're on the precipice of the greatest retirement crisis in the history of the world, right? What a great quote. You can click that article right there and view it. The 401k is a lousy idea, a financial flop. Time said that. You can view the article there. We've got this 401k fallout video that was back in 2008 when the market crashed and everybody was freaking out and they lost all their retirement money, had to go back to work. It's a very emotional video. It's a great one to watch. And then we talk about, well, how can we avoid this? How can we avoid losing all of our retirement income? Well, it's through a concept called indexing. We have a video here that explains it. Then we have that same calculator we just went over a while ago where they can go and play with the floor and the cap because now they know what that means. They can see the S&P or the Dow, right? And change the year range, all that fun stuff. They can see this view here that we liked. And so it takes 13 years to get your money back. You know, all that fun stuff that we already talked about. And here's the point of all this, guys. You probably had a great presentation with this client, but they might have retained only 50% of it. I don't know what the real number is, but they didn't get all of it. You guys probably got a lot more because you're insurance agents. You're familiar with a lot of this stuff. They're not, so they might only get half of it. So this interactive report helps them digest it on their own time. They can play with all the fun little sliders and math here. We can scroll down and see the fee section where they can see that the fee range is in that area. They can view the article there. They have the same fee information and they can go move that to 50 and watch those numbers change, right? They can change the examples to whatever fee rate they like to see. It's all changeable here. And then we scroll down and we talk about taxes, nest egg versus cash flow. Here's our same tax marginal rate here. And here is the same national debt churning for them. And yes, when they open this up tomorrow, it'll look different too. So a lot of folks get the interactive report and they open it up every couple of days just to watch the stinking national debt go crazy, right? And that's fine because it's your information you're giving them. So that's kind of interesting. They get the national debt feed. They can see where maybe the debt looked like in 1973, which is when I was born, $458 billion. That's fun. Boy, that's a lot more, right? So there's just a lot of fun that they can have with all these numbers. It's a professional touch that you can add. At the bottom, we talk about the solution. U.S. presidents, large banks, and the ultra wealthy have used this to protect their wealth, build and protect their wealth. Walt Disney borrowed from his life insurance policy to fund Disneyland. JCPenney did it. Ray Kroc did it. Founder McDonald's to meet payroll and stuff. So this is not a new concept. We put a new spin on it for your retirement here. But this is not a fly-by-night thing. And then as you keep scrolling down, we have the actual illustration numbers that they can do, and they can remember this presentation, and they can go, oh yeah, I remember it ran out there. And then if I go to age 95, like we talked about, I can't do a whole lot to get my 401k to reach that 95, right? Hopefully they'll remember the presentation and remember why they liked it. There's the graphs, right? It's all there. And the retention hopefully is better. And there's a time frame between when you have the policy and they're happy about the presentation, and maybe they're filling out a policy for you, or maybe they're going to think about it. And the time when the policy goes in force, that's a window where you either keep a client or lose a client. And a lot of times you lose clients because they go and talk to other people or they get cold feet or whatever. This interactive report gives them that ammunition to understand why they're going this route, giving them a lot of math and information that's customized to their situation with the summary here. That's their money, how much they're putting in. And if you scroll down a little bit further, of course you got the little, the return thing. You got a bunch of disclaimers here, and then you also have the actual illustration, all 46 pages in all its glory, and you can download it, you can print it. It's all right there. Now, why do we do that? Well, we have to make sure that we're compliant, gang. You can't sell this IUL without an NAIC approved illustration. So we just attach it. So you're never challenged. Did they see the illustration? Of course, it's part of the sales presentation. Oh, okay. Keeps us out of hot water, makes everything nice and compliant for you. That's the interactive report. If you've been sending boring old PDFs, well, you might want to try the interactive report. It'll add an extra level of professionalism, and I think your clients will love it. So let's go back to the Agency Rocket site. By the way, I've got videos on this site that you guys can go to now. You can access it. Just go to agencyrocket.com/videos, and you can see a system overview, some training here. It goes over every little button on that thing that I didn't go over. There's interactive reports here, which I just went over with you. And then there's also pro branding, which I didn't really talk about, but you can pro brand this thing and add all kinds of love. And the pro branding feature also enables you to have a lot of advertising things and trackers and stuff. It's a lot there. I don't really want to go into it right now. I can later for you, but that's pro branding. It's really cool. So let's talk about the pricing. The pricing is $59 a month for the 3 basic components. If you want to add the optional add-on of the interactive report, it's another $29.95 a month. So with that 60 plus 30 is about $90, a little less than $90 to get both of those things together. If you want to add the pro branding, it's another $30, and we can talk about that if you like. But that's basically the presentation case. That's the whole thing. There's more things that I could go into, but I think you guys get a gist of what's there. I hope that you guys, as I was giving the analyzer presentation, kind of felt like you maybe could do that with maybe a little bit of help, and that it helps strengthen your case when you talk to someone. The biggest problem I think that agents have with an IUL is sometimes you're going up against a stockbroker or some other person who has all kinds of math and things that they have, and you might be intimidated to say, oh, well, the IUL is better, blah, blah, blah. Well, now you can help prove it with math and with concepts that we have there. And I think it will help you sell more. Well, I know it will, because people have told us that it helps them sell more IUL. So I'll turn that back over to Case or Sean or whoever wants to talk. Sean, was there any questions I needed to answer or anything like that?
No, you either did such a fantastic job that nobody has any questions, or you lost everybody about 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, they might be sleeping. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that was awesome, John. That was great. It looks like a really good tool that can help the agents to make a lot of money here. Let me just open the floor to see if agents have any questions, and then I'll be talking about the special deal here for the agents.
Very good. Right.
Yeah, so team, any questions so far on the system? Yeah, any questions? Okay, we have about 5 more minutes, so ask your questions, and John and Sean, they'll do a really good job, answering your questions.
John showed you where the on-demand trainings were and the videos. You can go back and watch previous recordings of a demo that was just like this one if you want to kind of see everything again. And we've got a lot of training videos that we just have public facing. You don't need to establish your account first to go back and review it. So we've got a comment that said it's a lot of info. It's a pretty robust system, and there's still some more bells and whistles we didn't even get to. The system can do a lot if you want it to, or it can be just a simple and basic drag the age slider. So we tried to make it as easy as possible for the majority of agents to use, with a bunch of extra features if you really want to dive into, more advanced case design.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, has a question there, John or Sean, if you can answer that.
Yeah, you want to hit the analyzer tab for sure, our supported carriers, John?
Oh, right. I didn't do that. Okay.
We do support about a dozen, 12 to 15, somewhere in there, carriers. So and I think this is the question you're getting at. Tell me if I'm not relaying it correctly, but right there's the list of the carriers that we support PDF illustration uploads. So you would just run your illustration from any one of those carriers and upload it into the system, and our software is compatible with those. Was that the question, do you think, or are you asking about a different sort of a link? Okay.
Let me log out and go here. So there's an address up here, and I don't have it on a bigger screen. I'm really sorry. I should have probably done that. But if you type in nextvision.app.agencyrocket.com, I know it's a lot. I'll actually put it in the chat for you real quick. What is the chat?
And John, do you guys have a support line, or when agents need support or additional training on the software?
We do. Let me take you there. So if you go to training, you can schedule a free session, 45-minute session, by going here and just clicking that and say, I'll take the 2 o'clock slot, confirm, and put your email address in and schedule it, and off you go. Free, 45 minutes, one-on-one. We can dig into whatever you want to dig into and get you going. So that's what a lot of people use to help figure out the software a little bit more. We have some on-demand ones here that you can go and scroll through and see some of these guys. And then sometimes we have some large group trainings for very large groups up here, but we don't have any of those things right now scheduled. And then if you need support, we've got all kinds of phone numbers here and email. Really, support at agencyrocket.com is really where you want to go. That's where our fastest response happens. If you just email that support team, they're pretty quick on everything, and everything's nice and tidy there. Instead of on a phone call, we kind of keep track of all that fun stuff. So I would point you there. If you need something right away, you can call. But anyway, that's how this. Did that answer the question, Case?
Yes.
Is that helpful? Okay. Now let me just go back to this thing. So that address that I posted in the chat is where you should go to sign up. Well, actually, you can go there and click this create new account there. Sorry. Let's go there. Okay. Click on the My New Retirement, not the Debt to Wealth beta, and get started. If you do that, you'll have the Next Vision branding on your site, and you'll get a $10 off coupon at the end when you check out. Okay, so that's the kind of the deal there. So you definitely want to take advantage of that. So go to that special address and take advantage of the Next Vision pricing and private labeling and all that fun stuff that we've talked about with Case. And,
okay, yeah, John, can you go back to the pricing?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So we have a special deal for Next Vision agents only. Now, if you write an IUL policy, let's say one per month, Next Vision will actually waive that fee for you for the next 3 months. Okay, so like if you write one IUL policy per month, you get that monthly fee waived for that month. We'll pay for it. If you keep writing one per month for 3 months, we'll pay for that fee for you. So after 3 months, we will consider again and have another promotions. So that is the special deal right now for all the NFG Next Vision agents. You can literally get the system for free if you just write one case per month. Okay.
That's awesome.
That's a great deal, Case. That's a great deal. You really put you put it behind there. Great job. That's awesome.
Yes, I just want to help the agents to get their hands on this software and also write more policies so they can make more money.
And we want agents to love the software and use it. So you're not locked into a contract. You could cancel anytime if you decide you don't like it. We try to provide something of value that you want to use. And so that's why we don't try to hold you hostage and inside a subscription for, extended period of time. So it is a month-to-month deal.
Yes. Yep. So that sounds very good. I also have this recorded and I will be emailing this video as well as the sign up link to everyone. And yes, take advantage of that special deal from Next Vision here. You can get the software for free as long as you write one case per month and, test out the software. I believe the software will really help the agents to write more policies and double or triple the income. So any other questions, guys, before we end the training here? Let's see. Okay.